starts. Almost a year. Almost a year of not running. Took the mind state out of the important wires. Toyota pickup. First year of independent front suspension. Fixed that right up. The frame's been cut off right here. The spring mount has been recessed into there. Yeah, we're jumping right into it. And steering box is up and really forward. This ended up more forward than I wanted, but you know, shackles in front. People hate on that. I like it. I think it climbs better. I like how it rides. Less bump steer or flex steer because there's a longer pivot point between the fixed end and the axle. Then we got some basic trail gear hoops here, left over from my first time putting a solid axle under it. 4Runner springs with some kind of Mazda spring mixed in. We've got a trail gear steering reservoir. The power steering pump has a restrictor drilled. Got a Steezy Headman header that came with it back when I got it in 2007. Got a master cylinder that doesn't work so hot for me, but maybe I could make it work better. Got oil stains to keep the rust away. Stock fan, no shroud, no need. 22R doesn't care. We've got some Steezy motor mounts made with Chevy leaf spring bushings. And we got a O'Reilly special transmission cooler to cool the steering. We've got one high steer arm, and then we got factory mounts where that just kind of chills. There's really no need for a misalignment spacer for how much that moves, and I'd like to fix that, but so that doesn't happen anymore, but haven't done that. Oh, we hit right there, look at that. Not too worried about it. So we got this is like a Dodge Dana 60 front end. This is the factory 35 spline inner. Over here is a chromoly 35 spline outer. They're Dana U-joints, and they're the solid ones with no zerk, so in theory they're stronger. I still running the plastic bushing things on the factory style knuckles. And then on this side, this has been narrowed. So we use the factory spring perch from the Dodge over there, and then matched it up here because I had already built all this around a Toyota axle and didn't have a place to cut and weld on the truck and rebuild the whole thing. So I have just made this axle work, and it works pretty good. Main benefits are gearing's way better because it has 586 gears and it turns way tighter than the Toyota axle. And don't worry about that little guy. And then it's a gas air hybrid, environmentally friendly. We've got a re-cage from somebody's 4Runner that I bought secondhand. There's some of my very first tube work that I'm not super proud of in there to kind of tie it all in. That actually ties into the floor. So if you look in here, it ties back into the floor. And then underneath the truck, I'll grab that super quick. Underneath the truck, it ties into the chassis. And then seats are more of a recent addition. So you can see we're plated to the floor of the truck, but there's more. So you can see that tube hanging out from under there on that one side, on the outer side. And then that actually goes down to an additional tube that connects to the chassis and the rock slider. So the seats are essentially mounted to the chassis. So if you really take a big spill, you can be all right. And same's been done over there with that other seat to knock off harnesses. And that about covers the interior. We've got some, we're still 30 spline, but we got the chromoly shafts because I've broken 2 rear shafts. And then it's just a Dana 60 from, I think, the same ram that the front axle came out of, and that's the stock width, and it works. Chevy brakes. Oh, also we've got dual stock transfer cases. This is a cross member I made, and it goes to a low range off-road, if I remember right, plate. And then there's another thing that connects it to one of the factory mounts that you can't really see from down here. And that's a Driveline Tech rear shaft that I've ruined and shortened to make it work here. Right here is a part that was kind of tricky to figure out. There's a little notch right there. And because the factory studs from the Dodge Dana 60 setup didn't work very well. And then over here, we drilled through the cast webbing there. And pretty foolproof setup, really.